everything that was wrong with Hindu religion, its corruption, violence. Rammohun argued the practice was not in fact prescribed by Hindu religious and legal texts. This difference in approach was rooted in different objectives. Rammohun wanted to purify Hinduism, while the Baptist missionaries aspired to replace it with Christianity. So the Baptist high hopes that Rammohun would become a prestigious convert to Christianity were misplaced. And Rammohun published in 1820 of his tract, The Precepts of Jesus, the Guide to Peace and Happiness, marked a breaking point in their cooperation with Rammohun. The Reverend Joshua Marshman publicly condemned the book as the work of a heathen who perverted the gospel by omitting key theological passages and miracle stories. A pamphlet war broke out, with Rammohun defending his work vigorously in a series of appeals to the Christian public, in which he argued that the passages from the Bible he quoted laid out a complete path to salvation through service, and concluded with a universalist religious plea: may God render religion destructive of differences and dislike between man and man, and conducive to the peace and union of mankind. In the months leading up to his publication of the Precepts of Jesus, Rammohun started to meet regularly in Calcutta with William Adam and his fellow Baptist missionary, William Yates. He worked with them on new translations into Bengali of the four Gospels in order to correct what he identified as inaccuracies in the existing missionary translation. Yates, however, rapidly broke with Rammohun because he regarded Rammohun's proposed retranslations as undermining the orthodox Trinitarian belief that Christ was co-eternal and consubstantial with the Father, the idea of the Holy Trinity. Adam, in contrast, started to question his religious beliefs and the Rammohun's influence. He decided to publicly reject the doctrine of the Holy Trinity and avow himself a Unitarian, a believer in the unity of God, a move which resulted in his excommunication from the Circular Road Baptist Chapel in Calcutta in September 1821, and his dismissal from employment by the Baptist Missionary Society in Britain. Adam was derided from this point on by the Baptists as, quote, the second fallen Adam. And there was a particular anger and concern at Rammohun's role in turning the world of missionary conversion upside down. As the Reverend William Ward of Sirajul wrote in a letter of 7th of November 1821, the heathen Rammohun Roy converting a missionary, how we are fallen. I like this quote, so I'll just put it up there. Okay, so I'm going to move now on to the second part of my paper, brought together prominent Brahmins who were friends of Roy's and supporters of his agenda, the promotion of religious monotheism and social reform among Hindus, together with British merchants and East India Company civil servants who were Unitarian Christians. For Rammohun Roy, the committee acted as a new associational focus following the demise of his Amidja Shava in 1819. For Adam, newly married, and in brackets here, he actually married the wife of, he married the daughter of a deceased Baptist missionary, and I think things must have been quite hard for her when he broke with the Baptists. So he's now newly married, but of course now unemployed, because he'd been and ostracised socially by his old Baptist missionary brothers. So I think for him, collaboration with Rammohun opened up the prospect of funding, of employment contacts in the area of journalism, and an entry into the elite cross-cultural networks of Calcutta. For both men, it formalised their earlier collaboration in promoting a Unitarian interpretation of the Bible, and provided a base to foster broader collaboration between Unitarian Christians and Hindu monotheists. While the office holders of the Calcutta Unitarian Committee were all Europeans, with Adam himself as secretary, the committee included three very prominent Bengalis, Rammohun himself and two of his former associates in the amateur Shabha, the wealthy businessman Wakanath Thakur and the lawyer and campaigner against Jati, Prasanna Kumar Thakur. In bringing into voluntary collaboration on the basis of equality, Europeans and Indians, Hindus and Christians, the committee, I argue, created a cosmotopian space within a colonial environment, which was of course marked by racial hierarchies of power, and also by great suspicion and religious conflict between Orthodox Hindu religious leaders and mainstream Christian missionaries. Nevertheless, as with all utopias, and Professor Sonia Amin, who's written about the imagined utopia that from here Hussein imagined, as with all utopias, it was imperfect. It's easier to imagine a utopia than create it. It was actually quite an elitist and socially exclusive cosmotopia, involving male professionals and merchants of the European side, wealthy Brahmin members of the Bhadralok on the Bengali side, men only on both sides. Despite the absence of the word Christian from the committee's title, and despite Adam's use of the term Hindu Unitarian to refer to Rammohun and his Hindu monotheist friends, the committee's primary objective was defined as being throughout British India. That immediately raises the question of why on earth then did Rammohun decide to collaborate with Roy in creating a committee which combined an interfaith membership with an apparently restrictive single-faith objective. I think to understand this, and I don't know if I've got this right, but I hope I'm on the way to understanding it, I think we need to explore the different religious perspectives and motivations of Adam and Rammohun, and to examine how the committee defined its aims and the scope of its activities in order to allow room for both. So Adam, in becoming a Unitarian, had aligned himself with a strand of Protestant Christianity which had no history of foreign missionary work. He was no longer concerned, in contrast with his former Baptist missionary colleagues, with saving, quote, heathen souls from eternal damnation through conversion, as Unitarians did not believe in Calvinist doctrine of original sin. However, he continued to believe in the superiority of Christianity over other religions. He wanted to promote Unitarian Christianity in India, first by getting support among European Christians, then by focusing on, quote, the influential classes of the native community. He saw members of the educated Bengali elite like Rammohun as those most likely to be sympathetic to the very kind of rational approach to religion adopted by Unitarians, and hoped that Rammohun's Hindu monotheism and reference to Jesus' teachings would, in the long term, become a bridgehead to the spread of Unitarian Christianity through India. Rammohun, of course, was also his friend, and the person who had actually converted him from Trinitarianism to Unitarianism. Rammohun's approach to religion contrasted to that of Adam. It was more universalist, in the sense he sought to identify common ground between different religious traditions in an underlying fundamental belief in one supreme being. The approach was also eclectic, syncretic, as other scholars have pointed out. He wanted to draw on what he identified as the positive aspects of Christianity, and in this spirit, while remaining a Hindu, he was happy to join with Adam, promoting knowledge of the Unitarian form of Christianity in India, and also presenting Jesus to Indians as the most inspirational moral and ethical teacher the world has yet seen. However, Rammohun remained a Hindu and drew on Hindu sacred texts as a source of religious authority for his own monotheistic beliefs. In addition, his key objective was to reform Hindu religion and culture from within. The committee was able to square its interfaith membership with its key objective of promoting Unitarian Christianity through careful wording of this objective and through articulating a wide range of means of achieving it. In describing its aim as being to, quote, promote the knowledge, belief and practice of the principles of Unitarian Christianity, it avoided the standard Christian missionary language of the conversion of the heathen, placing an emphasis on religious principle over doctrine, the diffusion of knowledge and practice as much as belief. This represented perhaps the first articulation of a distinctively Unitarian approach to missionary work among populations of other faiths, one which created a space for the active contribution of Hindu monotheists as well as Unitarian Christians. Positioning itself as an endeavour to, quote, I'll quote up there, to sow the seeds of useful knowledge and rational religion in Calcutta, the committee thus opened up a Cosmotopian space. It articulated a pathway to the opening of Indian minds, hearts and minds to what it called true religion. And this term true religion was one that widely used by Unitarians to describe Unitarian Christianity, but also used by Rammohun himself to describe the true form of Hindu religious belief. And this pathway focused around educational initiatives to, quote, destroy ignorance and superstition, bigotry and fanaticism, and raise the standard of intellect, purify the theories of morals, and promote universal charity and practical benevolence, although not in immediate connection with Christianity. Rammohun's influence on Adam in articulating this distinctive Unitarian approach to mission is evident here, because Rammohun himself saw religious and social reform within Hindu culture as inextricably linked. Adam's first step was to create a Unitarian ministry in Calcutta with the intention of creating a solid Unitarian presence in the city, diffusing information about Unitarianism among educated Christians, Hindus and Muslims, and establishing a congregation which could be, quote, a focus from which the light of pure religion could emanate in many directions. He began to conduct regular services in English in the committee's rented meeting room, attended by a small group of Western Unitarian Christians who were resident in Calcutta, and also by Rammohun Roy's friends Hindu monotheists. However, despite some financial support from Roy, Adam had to abandon this work after about a year. He couldn't make enough money from it, and needed to take secular employment as a journalist to support his family. So the committee sought an alternative way of diffusing Unitarian ideas, setting up a journal called the Unitarian Repository in 1823, which aimed to diffuse the spirit of rational piety and enlightened benevolence. Thank you. And communicate correct and interesting information about the past history and present state of Christianity in all its forms throughout the world. Rammohun Roy helped collect subscriptions to this periodical, but again it only ran for a year, struggling to gain sufficient subscribers. Rammohun himself, meantime, focused his own efforts on educational initiatives of the committee. In 1822, he established and founded the Anglo-Hindu School in Calcutta, which instructed 60 to 80 Bengali boys in English language and general knowledge. While this was officially independent of the committee, it was publicly acknowledged in its reports as forwarding its objectives using education for the renovation and improvement of the Hindu character. Roy also founded the Unitarian Press. Very interesting press, this, I think. They published tracts promoting both Unitarian Christianity and Hindu monotheism and social reform. So it was the official publisher of the reports of the Calcutta Unitarian Committee. It published Rammohun's final tract in defense of his Unitarian interpretation of the Bible. It published a magazine called Brahmana Sirajul, or Rammohun magazine, which was a response to attacks on Rammohun's religious position from both the Hindu and the Christian side. It also published tracts by Rammohun promoting religious reform and arguing for the restoration of Hindu and ancient legal rights. The cultivation of a free spirit of inquiry into religion was also advanced by setting up of the Calcutta Theological Library, which offered free access to all and was founded with a view to facilitate the most extended comparisons and references to include the standard theological works of the religions and sects of all nations and ages. Adam was keen not to confine his activities to a ministerial role. He also had ambitions to launch a Unitarian Christian mission to Bengalis. To achieve this, he realised he would need overseas aid, and in his capacity as the secretary of the committee, he wrote in 1822 to the Unitarian Fund in London, asking for financial support. He had a pretty ambitious plan. He was hoping that they would fund 16 Unitarian missionaries and 4 printers to be based in Calcutta to print and spread word of Unitarian Christianity through India. Simultaneously, he contacted the leading promoter of American Unitarianism, William Ellery Channing, seeking American support for his plans. His request met with rather a cautious response, and perhaps the most interesting aspect of this was the fact that Henry Ware, who was the Unitarian Professor of Divinity at Harvard College, now Harvard University, decided to write at great length to both William Adam and Rammohun Roy, asking them 20 very searching questions about the prospects of Christianity and the means of promoting its reception in India. Because he wanted to determine on behalf of American Unitarians whether a Unitarian mission to India had any prospect whatsoever of success before they committed their money and funding to it. Adam's response articulated the specific Unitarian approach to foreign mission he'd already developed in dialogue with Roy and members of the committee. It presented it as a long-term project which needed to begin not with an attempt at dramatic conversions of the quote heathen, but rather by founding missionary schools to spread, quote, the universally acknowledged, the simple, the rational truth of religion, rather than Christian dogma. And by working to awaken the dormant reason and conscience of intelligent natives who must ultimately be the chief instruments for the propagation of Christianity. Rammohun's response is perhaps even more interesting. First of all, it's very interesting that Ware sought Rammohun's opinions about this matter, and this was partly because Rammohun was already become pretty renowned in both the US and Britain as someone who had an expertise in the comparative study of religion, a kind of early pioneer in the comparative study of religion. And interestingly, Ware didn't just give Roy the same questions as Adam, he added another question in his introductory to the letter, and he said, he asked Rammohun Roy whether he thought it desirable that the inhabitants can I get the whole screen? Yes. Okay, so he decided to ask Roy whether he thought it was desirable that the inhabitants of India should be converted to Christianity, and to what degree desirable, and for what reasons. So, pretty unusual to have a Christian missionary asking, is it valuable? Is it going to give any value to India to promote Unitarian Christianity? Roy articulated in his response, his particular universalist belief that fundamental religious truths transcended specific religious traditions, implying the equality of the Reformed form of Hinduism and the Unitarian form of Christianity in a way which called into question the need for Indians to move from one religion to another. In his own words, if I get the right button this time. Oh, it got the right thing now. I don't know why something like that. I pause to answer, as I'm led to believe from reason, what is set forth in the Scripture, that in every nation he that feareth God and worketh righteousness is accepted with him, and whatever form of worship he may have been taught to glorify God. He made it clear that Jesus, as a moral example, not Christianity as a set of religious doctrines, was what he valued. True religion, in his words, could triumph if American Unitarians set out to work with Adam, sent out to work in India, not missionaries, but rather teachers of European learning and science and Christian morality, unmingled with religious doctrines. So here we really see a difference between those two men. Adam, at heart, was still a Christian missionary, struggling to find the best way to eventually achieve conversion, while acknowledging this was going to be a very long-term process. While Roy did not see the necessity of conversion at all. As a result of the publicity surrounding these exchanges, modest amounts of funding began to flow into the committee coffers from overseas, both Britain and the US. The committee sought to drum up support within Calcutta as well for promoting their approach to missionary work. And in 1826, seizing the opportunity afforded by the launch in 1825 of the first proper national Unitarian organisations in both Britain and the US, Adam wrote as secretary of the committee to make a renewed request for funds. I think, just a side here, chronology is important here. It's very interesting that this Unitarian committee in Calcutta has been set up at just the time when Unitarianism is really emerging as a distinctive denomination within Christianity in both Britain and the United States. Before that, there were Unitarian congregations, but they didn't have a coordinated national body. So this debate about working in India, the issue of missionary work in India, take place right at the foundations of Unitarianism as a denomination in both countries. And in the United States, Joseph Tuckerman, the leading Unitarian reformer, ended up circulating a public appeal to American Unitarians to support the committee's work. And interestingly, again, when he sent round that appeal, he started by stressing Rammohun Roy supports this project, which is perhaps an optimistic reading of Rammohun's rather subtle description of his attitude towards missionary work. And I think it's also interesting just emphasising how much weight particularly in the US, Rammohun's status as a religious and social reformer already held. It was British Unitarians, however, who took decisive action. The British and Foreign Unitarian Association decided to formally appoint Hallam as its first overseas missionary. And in 1827, he was able to take up missionary and ministerial work in a full-time capacity when they agreed to pay him a ministerial salary, with the money channeled through the Calcutta Unitarian Committee. It was still not enough money to build a chapel, but Hallam was able to commence regular Unitarian Christian services for worship and build up a congregation. The committee also launched a weekly service for Bengalis, which was intended to form, quote, a point of union between Christian and Hindu Unitarians against polytheism and idolatry, through focusing on the inculcation of the moral and religious obligations on rational principles. And the other aspect of the work at this time was a series of evening lectures on religion, designed to appeal to both Hindu and Christians through a focus on the doctrine of the unity of God, considered in its various relations both to Trinitarianism and to polytheism and idolatry. So, doing all right for time, right, so next section of the paper, dare I try and change it? Back to the list, yes. Okay, so we're now on Cosmotopian dissolved, question mark, the British Indian Unitarian Association and the Brahma Sabha. So, at first it seemed that this securing of long-term financial support for Hallam's work would simply enable the existing work of the Calcutta Committee to continue on a more secure footing. However, less than 6 months later, at the very end of 1827, the committee met to reconstitute itself as the British Indian Unitarian Association. And I would argue that this reorganisation of the group threatened the power balance that had previously existed between Europeans and Bengalis on the committee. Careful reading of the records relating to the name change suggests there was a behind-the-scenes struggle to define the remit of the new organisation, and particularly the place of both Hindu Unitarians within it. So at the meeting in December, Hallam read a report that he himself had written as secretary, in which he gave 2 reasons for reconstituting the committee. First of all, it was now receiving what he described as public property in trust. And secondly, it was no longer appropriate for the committee to be unelected because the numbers of Unitarians had increased and they needed to make it more democratically organised. So he oversight of the finances and more involvement by the body of people rather than simply a freestanding committee. So this all sounds harmless enough. However, behind the scenes, you can see this would have been encouraged by the British and Foreign Unitarian Association back in London, because it was them who were formally committing regular funds that they were channeling through this organisation. The other thing that you notice is the change of title. Calcutta Unitarian Committee, now we have British Indian. Now, the grounds that, again, it was described in a very unusual way. This was simply because they wanted to extend the prospects of Unitarianism throughout India. And also form auxiliary associations in other parts of India. But of course, the very term British India carries particular connotations. A mission under the aegis of British imperial power, whereas of course the term Calcutta has more sort of neutral geographical designation. And interestingly, the report that Hallam wrote avoids any mention whatsoever of what he called Hindu Unitarian involvement in the new organisation. So if you just look at his report, you think, somehow the Hindus are being cut out now. But then, when you go and look at the records of the meeting itself, what we find is a rather more complex picture. And we find the Bengali members of the committee making proposals for these various changes, but I think they tried to kind of reshape them somewhat to ensure their continuing inclusion. So Dwarkanath Tagore actually proposes the name change, but he states specifically the new organisation should have the same objectives and principles as the original committee. Tarachan Chakrabarti then proposed that the current members of the committee, half of whom were from Roy's Hindu monotheistic group, be requested to act as the committee for the new association for the first year. So that meant he was seeking to secure Unitarian continued presence in the leadership of the organisation. And finally, after William Adam proposed that the meeting expressed their deep interest in the combined exertions of English and American Unitarians to establish a mission and pledged his cooperation with them, Rammohun Roy responded with a resolution proposing that this meeting invites all Unitarians, whether Christian or Hindu, to form themselves into associations auxiliary to the British Indian Unitarian Association. In other words, explicitly encouraging Hindu Unitarian membership of any auxiliaries form as a result of broader efforts in collaboration with British and American Unitarians. So the leading role of Rammohun's Hindu monotheist group on the committee in proposing the resolutions about a name change and in pairing up of Hindu and Christian Unitarians as the proposals, the explicit mention of both Christian and Hindu Unitarians in the final proposal, and the fact the resolutions were passed unanimously, together suggest that despite the name change, the agreed intention was for the organisation to continue to provide a Cosmotopian space which brought together and fostered cooperation between Rammohun Roy's group and Adam's Christian group. But Adam, of course, having now secured financial backing from Britain, had become less financially dependent on the support of his wealthy Bengali friends. While Rammohun had had his doubts about the value of any Unitarian Christian missionary activity to Indians, which went beyond the focus on Jesus' ethical teachings of the spread of Western education, and doubtless felt uneasy about the prospect of the organisation he had set up with Roy coming under oversight from a Christian organisation in Imperial Britain. Whatever the exact feelings about Adam and Rammohun at this point, what we do know is less than a year later after this name change, in August 1828, Rammohun and his Hindu monotheistic friend decided to withdraw from the association and to stop their financial support for it. And Rammohun then set up his own organisation, the Brahmo Sabha. This marked the foundation of a long-lived and influential movement for religious and social reform among Hindus, which later became known as the Brahmo Samaj. Adam did not approve of Roy's decision to form his own separate organisation, rather than continue to work with him in the reshaped Unitarian Society. He wrote to his American Unitarian friend Joseph Tuckerman in January 1829, "There's been formed a Hindu Unitarian Association, the object of which is, however, strictly Hindu and not Christian, i.e. to teach and practice the worship of one only God on the basis of the divine authority of the Ved and not of the Christian scriptures. This is a basis of which I've distinctly informed Rammohun and my other native friends that I cannot approve." Adam was finally forced to face the fact that Roy's approach to religion was very different from his own, focused on promoting a pure notion of God and eradicating idolatry, rather than based on the authority of sacred text, or at least as he saw it. Rammohun supports this institution, Rammohun, not because he believes in the divine authority of the dead, solely as an instrument for overthrowing idolatry. He went on to be candid, however, I must add, the conviction has lately gained ground in my mind. He employs Unitarian Christianity in the same way, as an instrument for spreading pure and just notions of God without believing in the divine authority of the gospel. Kumar Vishwas has defined the fundamental difference in religious output between the two friends thus: Adam was unwilling to sacrifice the Christian basis of his Unitarianism, while Rammohun remained a non-sectarian universalist despite his admiration for Unitarian Christianity. The expansive vision articulated when the Calcutta Unitarian Committee had been set up did not survive, and you can see that if you look at the books that were kept by Adam in the Calcutta Theological Library. Remember, that library had originally been set up to cover all faiths, to encourage, foster the understanding of all different religious faiths. But when the 1828 report appears, they list all the books from the library, and there's not one of Rammohun Roy's publications in the library. There's only one book on Islam, which is a book by a Westerner, which is not very sympathetic to Islam, and the books are almost entirely that specifically Unitarian Christianity. 500 books and pamphlets in that library. And Adam indeed added in the report that he wanted to encourage the expansion of the library through persuading Christians of other denominations to contribute works. No mention of people from other religious faiths. Okay, so final section, Cosmotopian continued, transnational connections, interfaith dialogue. Am I okay for time, Asha? End of the story of the Calcutta Unitarian Committee as a short-lived Cosmotopian and ultimately unsuccessful local attempt in interfaith collaboration. In fact, my argument is the committee had an impact which was much more persistent and pervasive. And this all sent back to the founding rules of the committee, which stated Unitarians in India, England and America should be invited to cooperate with this committee, and to Adam and Roy's independent subsequent correspondence with British and American Unitarians. So first phase, and I won't go over this again, we've seen how both Adam's letters to Western Unitarians and Rammohun Roy's letters, they were first in getting Western Unitarians to debate the value of foreign missionary work, and they also shaped the direction it should take against the focus, away from a focus on conversion towards a focus on education and collaboration. They're also unprecedented in that there was a asking of the value, a question of whether mission was actually of value, and the recognition it's important to consult with Indian experts about whether or not it was valuable to have a mission. Another important long-term impact was that Rammohun Roy in his correspondence wasn't just focused on Unitarian Christianity. He was also concerned to explain his ideas to Western Unitarians about the reform of Hinduism from within, and to cultivate dialogue across faith boundaries. And that didn't end when he left the committee and formed his own organisation, because in 1830, only 2 years later, he actually set sail for England and spent 3 years in Britain collaborating, securing his friendships with Unitarians as well as with wider group of political and social reformers. And it was really only the basis of this really was laid during his time in the Calcutta Unitarian Committee. And there's an interesting book being recently published which really explores his major impact in Britain in spreading the idea, for example, that reform of the Indian society could best be created from within rather than through external colonial intervention, and encouraging British people to petition Parliament to maintain and uphold the ban on sati or widow burning, and also to think about the relationship between their Christian beliefs and reformed Hindu religious beliefs. He died in Bristol in 1833, so you might have thought that would be the end of the story, but and his organisation did become rather inactive. And when it was relaunched by Deborah Thakur, it was determined to distance itself from Christianity, but that was not the end of the story. His old friend Wakala, Deborah's father, had arranged for a very impressive funeral monument to Rammohun to be erected in Bristol. This then became a place of pilgrimage for Brahmos visiting Britain, and this helped to sustain a collective transnational memory of Roy as a religious and social reformer, which facilitated the reopening of relations between Brahmo Samaj and Western Unitarians in the 1850s and 60s, when a new leader emerged, Sheffield Sen. He again positioned himself as the true inheritor of Rammohun's religious movement and took Brahmoism initially, at least, in a more universalist direction, and was very concerned to reforge strong links with a new generation of Unitarians. William Allen himself had a very interesting career after this, which continued to make bridges between social and religious reformers in India, Britain and America, although he actually left India for America in 1838. Became a professor of Oriental literature at Harvard, a minister, an activist in transatlantic radical abolitionist networks, perhaps influenced by Roy's earlier advocacy of women's rights. He supported the right of women to sit as delegates at the World Anti-Slavery Convention. He became an editor of the British India Advocate and campaigning against slavery in India. And in 1842, returning to the US, he was a very busy man. He founded a utopian community, or he was one of the family members of the utopian community, the Northampton Association in Massachusetts. So it's called Cosmotopian to Utopia. And Christopher Clark has written the standard book on this utopian community, has noted perceptively that Adam's years in India gave him connections and ideas which indirectly paved the way to the Northampton community. And these, I think you can see parallels between the agenda that Roy and Adam developed within the Calcutta Committee and this Northampton Association, which focused on attempts to build moral rules for the spiritual and moral and social regeneration of America at this time, not India. Certainly, Adam's friendship and collaboration with Rammohun remained dear to him, and in 1845 he delivered a lecture in Boston praising Rammohun's life and work, eventually published by Calcutta in the 1870s. Adam eventually returned to Britain, I'm almost there actually, and his publication there in 1862 of an inquiry into the theories of history, a long, rather turgid study critiquing Comte's positive philosophy, and argued for a theism rooted in Hindu Vedantism, suggesting that after he had abandoned Unitarian Christianity himself, he came to hold a religious position which was quite close to that of his old friend Rammohun. And I just want to end with one or two general points for you to take away and think about. I hope that the concept, introducing the concept of Cosmotopia, which is not really being used, as far as I know, much by historians, might be spark off some ideas in you and be a useful, interesting thing to play with. I think the relationship between colonialism and cosmopolitanism, not as opposite, but as overlapping things, something interesting to think about. I think the history of interfaith collaboration is a very interesting area as well that this throws light on. And also, just finally, I think that I have been very inspired by the rise of a kind of what is sort of basically a transnational approach to historical study, which focuses on the nature of cross-cultural exchanges and interchanges. And while it's quite difficult, we must hold on to the realities about the different power relations under colonialism. I think that previous accounts of relations between Rammohun and Unitarians have seen it too much as a one-way flow of influence between Western religious leaders and Eastern religious reformers. I think there's even a problem in the standard book by David Koch here, because where he connects Rammohun Roy's project with the modernisation of India. More recent work has stressed modernity as not something simply imposed on non-Western countries, but as something that was reshaped and took different forms in different places. So I think that rather than seeing these Brahmos as either wonderful modernisers or denationalising collaborators with the colonialists, we need to just get beyond some of these binary categories in order to really understand what they were trying to do and see what was perhaps valuable as well as problematic in their approaches to working across cultural and national boundaries. Thank you very much for listening.